Sometimes the pain you carry isn't from what happened. It's from the story you keep telling yourself about it. A story you've repeated so many times, it feels like a permanent part of who you are. But what if it isn't? What if your past doesn't define you unless you keep dragging it into your present? There's a strange comfort in clinging to old wounds. The betrayal, the abandonment, the failure. We wrap ourselves in them like armor, not realizing they're the very things holding us back. And yet, we hold on, like carrying a sack of old rotting memories on our backs. Memories that don't serve us, but we still reach in and smear them all over our lives, wondering why everything smells of sorrow. I remember hearing a man say once, "I realized I no longer needed a personal history, and just like that, I gave it up." Not as an escape, not as denial, but as liberation. Because if you're not trapped in your story, then you're free to write a new one. And if you don't have to keep proving who you were, you can finally become who you are. There was a woman who came to me once, broken after her husband walked away from a 25-year marriage, 4 children, a lifetime shared, and in an instant, gone. She was unraveling, losing weight, drowning in medication, sinking into darkness. She came not for comfort, but for a way out of the pain. She said, "Tell me something that will help me live again." And I told her, "Give up your personal history. Merge with this moment, just this one, right now." She looked at me as if I hadn't heard her. 25 years of love, betrayal, sacrifice, and I was asking her to forget it all. But that's not what I meant. You don't ignore the past. You hold it in your hands, look it in the eye and say, "Thank you for what you taught me." Then you let it go. Not with bitterness, with grace, because everything you've lived has brought you here, and here is enough. Think of your past like a hat. You can carry it around forever, or you can tip it, thank it, and place it gently aside. It's still yours, but it doesn't have to weigh you down anymore. You can't move forward when your hands are full of yesterday. You can't breathe in the present when your lungs are filled with the dust of regret, and you definitely can't heal while still bleeding from old wounds you refuse to clean. If you want to be free, you have to stop believing that your past is what's steering the ship. It's not. That trail behind you, that's just the wake. And as Alan Watts once said, the wake doesn't drive the boat. It only shows where you've been. It says nothing about where you're going. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means no longer allowing what was to dictate what is. It means facing the truth without being enslaved by it. And sometimes it means changing your mind entirely, because you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. Every belief, every fear, every limitation, you built those, which means you can rebuild. Rewrite the rules. Change the agreement you have with reality. If your thoughts are the prison, then new thoughts are the key. You're not broken. You're just believing in a version of yourself that no longer fits. And when you finally let go of who you were, who you truly are begins to rise. Admitting you were wrong, that's one of the hardest things a person can do. Not because it requires some grand announcement or public confession, but because it demands a quiet, honest moment with yourself. A moment where you stop and say, "The choices I've been making, they haven't been working. They've brought me to a place I don't want to be. And I'm done continuing down that path." There's no need for guilt, no need to beat yourself up. It's just truth, the kind of truth that frees you. You look back at a relationship and realize you acted in ways you didn't fully understand at the time. You didn't know better, but now you do. And that clarity, that awareness, becomes the foundation of a new direction. Real connection in a relationship, real love. It doesn't come from focusing on what someone isn't. It comes from embracing them as they are, not who you wish they were or who they used to be, just who they are right now. That's where love lives. You look into the eyes of your partner or your child, and you search, not for their flaws, but for their light. Even if you have to look hard, even if it takes effort, you find it. You catch them doing something right. You hold on to it. You focus on it. And then suddenly what felt broken starts to grow. Because what you give your energy to, that's what expands. There are people who live entire lives of love. No bitterness, No resentment, no drama, just a quiet, unwavering decision to keep their thoughts rooted in love. They choose what they focus on. And in doing so, they create relationships that feel like home. The same goes for how you treat yourself. If you want to become something more, if you want to grow into the next version of yourself, start by acting as if you're already there. Step into it, see it, feel it, because your life moves in the direction of your dominant vision. My kids understand this better than most adults. My daughter, she wanted this prom dress. Not just any dress, but the dress. The one that made her feel like the moment she stepped into it, everything in her world clicked. Only problem, that dress had a price tag that made me question the economy and my parenting skills at the same time. I gave her my limit, what I thought was more than reasonable, but she wasn't having it. She said, "Dad, I've already seen myself in this dress. I've worn it. In my mind, I've walked into the prom in it. I've shown it to my date. I've lived this moment already." She had a picture of herself in that dress sitting in the living room, a screenshot of it plastered across every screen in the house. This wasn't just a dress to her, it was part of a future she already believed in. So I told her, if you're that sure, then you'll also have to see yourself earning the difference. And she didn't flinch. She drew up a contract, signed it, listed babysitting jobs, chores, whatever it took. That dress wasn't just hanging in a store anymore. It was already hers because she had claimed it in her mind. That's the secret most people never learn. You don't wait to become what you want. You start living like it's already real, and then watch your world rise up to meet it. And she did. She wore the dress, not because someone told her to, not because she needed approval, but because she knew. She knew that if you want to become something greater, you begin by treating yourself as if you're already there. She didn't wait for the world to acknowledge her brilliance. She stepped into it. That's the secret. There's a genius already alive in you, not waiting to be found, but to be remembered. If you walk, speak, and act like the person you dream of becoming, something inside begins to shift. Thought always comes first. It plants the seed long before the action blooms. That's how transformation begins. Not with the world noticing you, but with you noticing yourself. There's a kind of sacred power in that, a treasure, and it lives in knowing your own divinity, in recognizing you're not here by accident, that you come from something higher, something vast. You were never separate from it, not when you doubted yourself, not when you fell apart. That same source that grows flowers and stirs oceans and beats the hearts of every living being, beats within you too. It never left. But so often we ignore our own inner light. That flash of brilliance, a unique idea, a quiet pull. We brush it off because it came from us. We think, if it were truly great, someone else would have thought it. But that's the trap. We reject our own genius. Yet when someone else says it, when it's wrapped in a different voice, we recognize it and think, I've thought that before. You have. And it matters. That's the divine part of you. The part that's not scared, not small. The part that knows exactly who you are, even when you forget. You're never alone because this source, this force, is always moving through you, in every breath, in every moment of clarity, in every time your heart beats faster for something that feels true. You can never be separated from it, no matter how far you stray, because it's not out there. It's in you. And when you start to honor that, when you begin to treasure your divinity, everything changes. But to stay there, to stay aligned with that truth, there's a discipline, a kind of wisdom. And that wisdom is choosing thoughts that make you stronger. Every thought you think has a vibration, a weight. Shame weakens you, fear shrinks you, stress, guilt, resentment, all of them drain your energy. If you teach a child to feel ashamed, they'll carry that weight into everything they do. Not because they're broken, but because they've learned to see themselves through the eyes of unworthiness. But you can choose differently. Every time a disempowering thought creeps in, you can shift it. You don't have to believe every voice in your head. Start with neutrality, then move to willingness, then to love. Then when you're ready, to a deep knowing that you are and have always been divine. And when you see someone out there, someone struggling, someone lost, You'll recognize a part of yourself in them too. Because at the highest level, there's no separation. Know them, just different reflections of you, walking different paths. And in that awareness, there's compassion, there's grace. I remember walking along the beach one morning, fresh off a late-night show taping. A woman stopped me, said she'd seen me the night before and asked, "What are the people like around here?" She was thinking of moving and wanted to know what to expect. I asked her, "What are they like where you live?" She frowned. "Pushy, distant, not very kind. That's why I want to leave." I told her, "That's probably what you'll find here." Later that same day, another woman stopped me. Same question. But this time when I asked about her hometown, her eyes lit up. "People are warm there, friendly. They open their homes. I'll miss that." I smiled and said, "That's probably what you'll find here. Because what you expect, what you think becomes what you see. That's not just optimism. It's not wishful thinking. It's truth. Your thoughts are the blueprint. They shape your reality long before it becomes visible." Emerson said, "The ancestor to every action is a thought." So if you want to change what's around you, start with what's within you. Start with the thoughts you choose to believe, the energy you choose to carry, the version of yourself you dare to honor. That's where the real power lives.